Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io. Music licensing reimagined. Artlist.io.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome in on this Monday night from the Channel 9 studios. This is Sport Chat with Mr. 33. I am he, Mr. 33. And as always, we're going to go ahead and look at tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. And tonight they was in Philadelphia. Shout out to my homie Riders, HP baby. But anyway, so they was in Philly tonight. And of course we got the vision that came out. They started off the show tonight. In particular, Paul Heyman. For those of you that don't know, or for those of you that are not familiar, Paul Heyman is the guy that ran ECW out of Philadelphia. That was the center of ECW. That was their hometown, their home base. So, he gets in there, he feeling proud of himself. He felt like he was home. So he's over there talking about certain things, certain people, things that he's done and things of that nature. But of course, as he's talking, we hear the music. It's Mr. Yeet Man himself comes out. Jey Uso, main event. Jey Uso, he comes out. He's talking to everybody. He said he's tired of hearing Paul Heyman talk. He's tired of hearing Seth Rollins talk. Who didn't say anything, by the way, but he's just tired of these people talking. He saw Braun Breaker. He referred to him as a little dog because Paul Heyman called him a big dog and said Roman Reigns is not that that dude no more. This is his yard. But anyway, so Jay pretty much said, I'm tired of you talking about my family, this, that, and the third. I'm gonna give you a match. Let's do a match. Me and Braun. And then, Steph over there hyping on, hey, Braun, he said your family's dumb, your father's dumb, your uncle's a moron, and this, that, and the third. So they going through the motions. All right, they make the match. Then they set up the match as an Extreme Rules match because they're in Philadelphia. So, that's how that segment ends. And then we go to our first match, which is Io Sky and Raquel. Almost said Roxanne. Them all girls from the Judgment Day. They something else. But anyway, before Oscar goes out, before Io goes out, Oscar's like, yo, we didn't mean to do that. What we did last week, come out there and interfere, but they got on you. We ain't doing that. And then Io like, yo, I got to do this myself. So she goes out to the ring. She starts the match. Raquel is doing what she do because she's the powerhouse. She the powerhouse of Judgment Day. Uh, using the strengths that she got and throwing little EO all over the place. Uh, EO finds her way back. She fights back and do all of these other things, and then Rock Roxanne, which is Roxanne Perez, she tried to get into the match, and got trying to save Raquel, but it doesn't help because EO hits her with the bullet train, and then the moonsault from the top rope. Pins her, gets the 3 count. So EO gets the victory, but right after the match, they start the jumper. And then I almost said Rhea. It is Rhea. Rhea Ripley comes out and she comes in and saves the day. And you know, they going into they going in, they get the girl the Judgment Day out, which is Raquel and Roxanne. They get them out the ring. They celebrate a little bit. Uh, and that's the end of that match. Then the next match we got Penta and Xavier Woods. Uh, just feel bad for these guys. But before we go to that match, I just remember what happened. So Oscar ran into EO like, yo, so you telling us we can't help you, we peoples, but then Rhea could come down there anytime she want. So Rhea and Oscar is getting ready to get into it. And before and that ends that segment before we get to the Penta match. I mean, yes. Is it Penta? Yeah, Penta and Xavier Woods. Uh Poor Xavier Woods. I was saying. New Day coming out looking all crazy. Uh and Penta just did what he needed to do. Kofi tried to get involved, Grayson tried to get involved. He took them out. He does the Mexican destroyer on Xavier, gets the 3 count. Penta defeats Xavier Woods. Like I said, that match was is something different. So now we got a specialty, right? We got Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee from AAA, which had an awesome performance this Saturday at AAA. The AAA wrestling, they had so many different people in there. We saw some WWE people. We definitely saw some WWE people in there, but we'll talk about that later. Maybe. And they go up against the Judgment Day. I guess it's for the belt. It's like a rematch because I think they just fought these guys at AAA, right? But it was Mr. Iguana, Nino Hambursa, and Lola Vice. It was a 6-man, a 3-man, a 3-people tag because it was JD Raquel, and I don't know. They got an alert down here in Georgia. Somebody on the run. But anyway, so it's JD, Finn Balor, and Raquel. But tonight is just Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee. They's fighting for the belt. Of course, as the AAA guys start to get the momentum, you see Dirty Dom comes in. Uh, he gets the distraction. Because he's actually going to fight these people at Worlds Collide again. He just lost his title, his chance to win the title at AAA. So he got mad and got back and let the Judgment Day gain a victory over Iguana Lee and Mr. Iguana and Dragon Lee. So big win for them. So then we had a little flash to the back. A flashback. I said flash to the back. Flashback as the Women Intercontinental Championship was in the next bout. It was Natalia versus Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch comes out. Realist, what's going on with you? Natalia versus Becky Lynch. She coming out with Maxine Dupree and oh gosh, look, the not New Day, Alpha Academy. That's what they was called. But Natalia, she fighting Becky, and then Becky starts to gain control. Natalia hurts her arm, and Becky takes advantage. She hits her with the arm takedown. What's the name of that damn move? She hit her with the arm submission. Natalia, she submitted and she lost the belt. Then she took it out on Maxine and Akira Tozawa. And then, came down. Nikki, almost said Nikki Cross. Nikki Bella came through and got Becky up out the ring. But Becky Lynch does retain the title against Natalia. All right, I ain't gonna go to. I'm gonna skip the actual next segment because that's gonna be my last retort of the night. Okay, so now we get to the main event: Jay versus Braun. Jay comes out with a barrel of trinkets, of chairs and toys, and chairs and sticks and all that other stuff. So as the match begins, we see Braun is doing what he do. He's taking out, he punishing Jay. Then all of a sudden Jay gets the momentum. He gets a spear. Braun breaks out of it, and then then we get Bronson Reed. He gets into the match. As Bronson Reed gets in the match, LA Knight, then Seth come out. Punk comes out as well. So those three going at each other. Punk set LA Knight through the table, which is gonna be some kind, they adding on to their friction. But then all of a sudden, we get the music. Roman Reigns comes out. Roman Reigns, they looking for him. He comes out. He hits Breaker with the spear. Then Jay does the slugs. He hits him with the spear, put him on the table. Jay hits him with the splash from the top rope through the table. They get the 3 count. He's punishing Bronson Reed. Then he yells at Bronson Reed as the match ends. He said, I'm taking your shoes in Paris. He's like, I'm gonna punish you in Paris. So that more than likely will be a match. as Paul Heyman called him the shoot thief, not the shoot thief. What do you call him? He called him some type of thief. He's a shoot thief though. He said he got a shoe of follow and oh man, I forgot the name. Check the. But anyway, they're gonna be fighting for them shoes, I guess. But Jay was victorious. He's standing there with Roman. But the headline of the night actually was that Naomi and Jimmy came down to the ring tonight, and they announced that Naomi is having a baby. First and foremost, on behalf of Sports Chat with Mr. 33 and Channel 9 Studios, we congratulate those two. If you've been following WWE, if you've been following Naomi for all of these years, especially with Total Divas, they've been talking about a baby for a while. Naomi been fighting it for a while. She was worried about it. She wanted to stay active, and but y'all know Total Divas was about 10 years ago. Not only was it 10 years ago, we got to remember Naomi came in there bright and early because she was a funkadelic, right? She was dancing as a Brodus Clay little funkadelic. And that was like 2008, 2009. So y'all do the math. That's like 16 years. But she's pregnant, and it's for me, it's kind of crazy that she got a hot run. For those of y'all that don't know, she quit the WWE with Sasha Banks, and then they went to another. They went to AEW. Was it AEW or was it TNA? It was one of them. It was a rival, and then they left with the tag belts, and then Naomi came back. Sasha stayed away. But now she had this run. Now what I mean. They made her a villain for the first time. She was killing as a villain. She telling y'all proceed with caution, things like that. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, realist. I'm really torn behind this. I mean, I'm happy that they're having the baby, but the timing, right? The timing is just crazy, right? Because she's killing. She punishing people. You know what I mean? She just beat Rhea Io. She lost to Naomi, but she cashes in to get she gets the belt. She was feuding with Jade. Then she turned the villain as she admits she throws Jade into the car. She gets in the way of Jade and Bianca. She's doing all of these things, right? But like I said, I'm happy for her. I just don't like the timing. I don't, she left the belt. She was mad funny. This is why, you can tell when people, they enjoy what they do, right? But real life kicks in. She like, yo, guess what? The bloodline growing. And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. She talking shit. She said this to the female roster. She said, y'all know who y'all need to thank for this? Y'all need to thank Jim. Cause he was like, he put that thing in me, and well, I'm paraphrasing. He put that thing, and now I gotta lay this belt down. But check this out: when that baby come out, I'm telling y'all, I'm coming back. Y'all better be proceeding with caution. You know what I mean? As I'm growing this bloodline after this baby comes out, it's a thing. Like I'm coming back. I'm coming back for this. This is my belt. Like I made this belt. You know what I mean? She put her own design on the belt and everything. But I just don't like the timing. You know what I mean? And then now, if you really sit back there and look at it, it feels like they knew the whole entire time, right? Because if you really watching SmackDown for the most part, they got Jimmy doing absolutely nothing. He just running around with solo with Jacob being a non-factor. He ain't getting no type of push towards the belt or anything. You got Jay being the world champion, Jay main eventing things, Roman's coming back, Sammy now coming back now to try to take the belt from Solo. From what I'm seeing over the last week, which I don't know how that's gonna work with Jacob. I don't know what they got planned for Jacob. I guess I don't know what they got planned for Jacob. But anyway, the way that Jimmy Uso was moving, it was like, yo, something's off. They're not pushing him enough. They're not pushing him enough. Even on when we had these conversations on this channel, me and my co-host be like, yo, there's something going on. He trying to find himself. He trying to find an identity. Now we understand why he ain't got no identity. He gonna be worried about his wife. Wife's having a baby. You know what I mean? They didn't want to put nothing, I guess they didn't want to put him in those serious situations. You know what I'm saying? But Naomi does. She lays the belt down. She walks out, so we know we're not going to see her for the next. We're not seeing her for 26. So now I guess they're going to have a tournament that may end in a Clash in Paris, maybe. I know Stephanie Vaquer was the first in line, so I don't know how they're going to do that, right? But but besides that, I'm really glad. Like I said, congratulations to them. You know, for those of you that may not understand your first child, there's so much excitement. There's so much we understood. Like I want to know. I don't want to know if she was fighting while she was pregnant. Hopefully not. Hopefully the baby comes out healthy. All faculties and all that other stuff. Right. It's just like I said. For me, it's the timing. the timing was just horrible. It's just horrible. So now who they going? What like I said, they're more than likely going to have a tournament for the women's division. I don't. So if I had to pick somebody to win, I would. My first guess would be Stephanie Bakir, but I don't know. I just got a funny feeling like what's the girl name? Liv is gonna come back and do something with this belt. If not, Liv is gonna go back to the Judgment Day because they ain't got they losing belts left and right. But the sneak, I don't think nobody else. Like I said, I don't think nobody else is coming over to Raw as of yet. So my like I said, my guess is gonna be Stephanie or now Roxanne. If now let's Liv come back. I don't see nobody else winning. I don't see them allowing Rhea to win the belt. I don't see any of these things happening, right? So it's just gonna be an interesting run as we head towards Clash in Paris. You know, but congratulations to the Fatu family, Jim and Trini. Trini is her real name. Um, and like I said, I just found it. I just found it a little. I just found it disheartening that she's having a baby in probably the best possible while she's in the best possible run. So does she come back? Does she come back proceeding with caution, or does she come back with the glow? You know what I mean? Does she keep herself in shape and all of these other things? So it's just something to look at. It should have been. No, now realist. We be having these conversations. We had these type of conversations. Buzz it down, Brown, or word conversation. But sometimes when you got like, I think this is their first child. I think this is their first child. He has a child, but I think this is their first child. So I don't know if he was trying to. I don't want to. I think he has a daughter already. I know. I've seen a video with him with a daughter. But like I said, in Total Divas, he was pushing for the baby. She like, nah, I'm straight. I'm straight. But I guess doing this for 16, 17 years, and you like, you know what, man, it might be time. But you give him the green light, but then you hit. I'm not. So some people, if there was some females here, they might say that was a selfish move because she progressing and he ain't progressing. It's a lot to think about. It's a lot to view. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, she's a beautiful thing, and that's his wife. So she might be doing extra things in that bedroom for him. You know what I mean? Like, yo, damn, girl, I can't keep my hands off you. I don't care, you the champ. I'm the champ in this. I'm the champ in this house. You know what I mean? You don't know, but I just, I hope people don't start going crazy. Like, he's selfish. He shouldn't have planned. He shouldn't have had the baby. He shouldn't have plugged up and all these other things. Because, some people just think stupidly, right? Some people ain't got no morals and respect. But this is just goes to show you how much real life can, even in the world of entertainment, real life could shut you down real quick, right? Even if it's a happy occasion, right? They're having their first child together, but at the same time, she's losing a lot of momentum. She's losing momentum. Like, he might can still run back and forth and pop up and still have these little poo poo matches against the MFTs and whoever he gonna start fighting in the next few months, right? So, but she got to sit at home. She got to watch. She ain't traveling. She probably gonna gain a couple pounds because she on. She who knows? She probably might not know how to sit still. When you travel around the world for 300 days, like 250, 300 days out of the year, you don't know how to sit still. So it may be it's going to be an adjustment for her. Hopefully she comes back in a right frame of mind. Most of the time, a lot of the time, some people say, women especially the women. They say they have postpartum. After they have the kid, and and this is her first one, so this might be extremely difficult for her to have this child. You know what I mean? Because it'd be her first. Then how they say, you in your mid 30s, it could be high. It could be a high risk pregnancy and all that other stuff. It could be a whole bunch of things. But we praying that we praying and hoping that they have a beautiful child. The child comes out with all 10 fingers and all 10 toes and the right frame of mind. No, no illnesses in the mind. In the brain. As many kids as you're starting to see many kids is having things like autism, ADHD, and all that other stuff. We want them to have a healthy baby, and she just couldn't continue to wrestle because I'm not, and that's a good thing. You don't want to risk your child doing those split off the top rope and then landing on your stomach, landing on your stomach on the opponent as you did a split moonsault. You know what I'm saying? So I get it. Like I said, me personally, it's the timing for me. Like I said, it's probably be some more conversations behind that, but it's just something different, right? But congratulations to them anyhow. Now going back to Saturday. Saturday was the AAA main event. I mean triple A mania, and they had a lot of people that showed up in those things, right? We saw Omar. Omos was there as part of the battle royal. We saw Otis there as part of the battle royal. I don't know if y'all saw this, but they had a little dude. They had a little guy in there, and and the first person I thought about was my crazy 33 co-host, right? I was like, he like talk about tossing midgets and all that, and then there was a picture of the little dude stand up at Omas. I know Omas is like 7 something. He like the dude is like mad tiny. I think he might be like a fidget. I don't want to say the word because they might try to come get me. He's a fidget, right? A little guy. So, but in the meantime, they tossed him out the ring. I was like, oh man, that's crazy. But we saw Otis there. Otis was trying to defend them and use, they was propping him. He pushed he pushing the people. He pushing the little people on to the guy, and the little guys getting eliminated and all this other stuff. Then they had a moment where Omos was chilling. Yeah, he was overseas. Realist, he's like he's WWE, but they allow him to just they ain't got nothing for him, so they just allow him to go to Japan and stuff like that. He been wrestling in Japan and you know those places out east, but they let him come in. Like I said, he won the battle royal. Uh, but it was a pretty good show. Like I said, Dominic was trying to win the belt over there as a fatal 4 way, but AJ came in with a lucha mask on and started. And he gave him the what's the AJ? Not the famous. Is it the famous one? No, that's not the famous. The move would look like a power driver, and he just he flatlines the dude on his face. Uh, and then Dom got pinned by the reigning champion, so that person retained the championship. Like I said, I spoke about it earlier. You had Judgment Day, and then you had Lola Vice, and that Lola Vice, Mr. Iguana, and Los Hamburger, the Hamburglar. He's the Hamburglar in English. Styles Clash, right? Realist. Thank you. Uh, so yeah, for those of y'all that don't know, Mr. Iguana, he got a iguana like a puppet. So Finn had made he brought his puppet. His puppet is like a demon and all that other stuff. So they sit there, they wrestling, they fighting each other. The puppets is out there fighting. I mean, and then the puppet, then the Hamburglar guy gave the puppet a hamburger. So I'm like, yo, they bugging right now. But the movement of that's what I say. When you bring the Lucha Libres out, man, they be moving around. They like those guys put that work in. They like to jump up on the top rope, you know, jump up on the top apron, walk the ropes, and do the hurricane riders and things like that. It was for a wrestling person. It was a good event. If anything, if you feel like you can watch it for a couple hours, I suggest. I think I did. I shared it in English and in Spanish, just in case anybody wanted to hear it in Spanish. Uh, you know, it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good show. You know what I mean? But you know, like I said, it was a lot of good wrestling going on. Now, as far as AEW, I think they having a main. I think they either just had one or they get ready to have one this week, a pay per view. Now with AEW, right, you got to have HBO Max or whatever the case may be. I'm gonna say this: their pay per views is better than the actual show. I don't. I try to get involved. Like I try to get into it. I try to see what Moxley's doing. I try to see what the Hurt Syndicate doing. I almost said Edge and Christian. That's who they are, but they're not. That's not their names over there. They're coming together. Excuse me. So all of these things is occurring, but I can't get into it because it just drags. It's so slow. It's like, and me just coming into this AEW thing. I'm like, yo, I'm trying to get into it, but I can't because it's just so slow. It drags. But I have caught a pay per view or two, and they have been doing out like it's more competitive than the actual TV shows. It's more competitive than the TNT show. So I'm like, maybe I gotta watch the pay because like their storyline is not even the same. Mercedes Monet, she's winning belt. She ain't getting no challenges. You know what I mean? But in the pay per views, she does put on a great match to retain her belt. If she does, or she for the most part she retains the belt. So it's just something to it's just something I have to do better in as far as getting into the show to watch it because like I said, I don't get into the actual show, but the main event I will rock out with. I mean the pay per views I will rock out with. So that's something that I need to do as far as that. But in other sports news or in sports news about other sports, we are getting closer to the NFL season as they just finished up week 2 of the preseason tonight. Uh, I did, like I said, I wanted to get a fantasy league, but I didn't do well enough to get some people to participate, so that's on me. But after that Sunday before the week or before September 4th, I'll probably do a show to do my predictions as far as the division leaders, the division champs, how you know the records and so on and so forth. Uh, but they getting close to that. In about 40, almost what's today? Today's 18th, and they're on this 60 days. The NBA regular season getting ready to start. So we getting close to basketball time, which means we're gonna be close to hockey time, and baseball starts revving up their playoffs in October. So all of these things is coming to fruition as it's amazing. We just started the year. We are already looking at Labor Day in 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today is Labor Day. So we as the sports pick up, we're gonna pick up. So maybe I'll decide to do a couple NBA games, like the late West Coast games at night. Like I don't know who, the Lakers and somebody if they're playing in LA or something like that. I haven't decided. I thought about doing a preseason football game. I may do that maybe next Saturday night just to get myself if I do like a Monday night football thing. And then after that Monday night football, I'll talk about whatever happens on Raw's Netflix at the same time. just to give the channel, some spice and spice it up with different sports. I appreciate everybody that, they come through for the wrestling aspect. But now, like I said, as the seasons are getting ready to start up, I got to prepare myself for the seasons. We still will be doing the weekly picks of the schedule, which team is going to win, do that with the records and all of that stuff like we did last year. So that's not going to be a problem. But other than that, you know what I mean? Like, we will keep you abreast about any news and stuff like that. I was going to talk about the Cleveland situation, the quarterback situation, like Shador Sanders versus the young man Dylan Great Gabriel as he played this weekend. But it's not, he did pretty well, but he did have two turnovers. And Shador was controlling obliques, even though the Browns did name Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback for the season. So now we're just on watch to see if they're going to allow Shador Sanders to make the team. Are they going to cut him? That's what the real season is about. I mean, for the Browns, they in New York, they talking about Jackson Dart. He may be starting over Russell Wilson. That's how great of a preseason he having. So it's a lot to view. But after they cut everybody, after they get their teams down to 53, then that's when I'll make my predictions of who's going to do what in what division, which team is going to win the division. More than likely, I may do a playoff list at the same time, so that way, as I do that, I'll put it on the community post, but then have that conversation, so that way it don't look like I'm I'm cheating as I predict who's going to do what and when. But like I said, it's going to be a lot of sports going on, so I'm excited. I'm excited because I get to do more things, and I hope you guys are excited and stick around and watch the world of sports as we grow, as it grows, we grow together. So with that being said, we'll be back on Friday to talk about SmackDown and what's going on over there. Will the MFTs be fighting? Uh, 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 oh God, what's his name? Sami Zayn. And Sami Zayn made the jump over to SmackDown last week as well. Like I said, he'll be. He told Solo he coming for the belt. Will we see Brock Lesnar this week? We also know that John Cena is going to fight Logan Paul at Clash of Champions. So, will John Cena make? He made an appearance tonight, but will he make an appearance? What did he make? It was no, that was a video. That wasn't him tonight. That was a highlight from SmackDown. Will he make his appearance Friday? Will Logan Paul be there? Will Brock Lesnar be there? We don't know. See what I mean? It's so much to look forward to this Friday. But whatever happens Friday, Sports Chat will be there to talk about it on Friday. So with that being said, I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. So from the Channel 9 studio, this is Mr. 33 signing off. I'll see you guys on Friday.